All right, so for this week's lessons, what I just went over, um, for Unit 6, Lesson 6, Lesson 7, I just wanted to present. This is what Lesson 6 should look like. You'll have a question that is similar to this, where it says for these data as blank increases, blank tends to increase. So you're looking at specifically the graphs, and you're looking at when one of these variables, whether it's mileage or price, when it increases, what else increases, right? So you have to be very conscious and pay attention to specifically what's happening. Is the graph a negative? Does it have a negative slope? So are my points decreasing, or is my graph a positive slope? Or is the association with the data positive? Is it all these points trending and heading into a positive direction? Or is there no association? Or is there a nonlinear, meaning that it doesn't go up or down, or it goes both, or they're just scattered all over the place, right? So in Google Classroom, I've actually posted links to that there. So if you go to where it says resources for this week, you click on that, and you click on scatter plot patterns. You'll get something that looks like this, and it'll kind of give you a breakdown of the positive linear association, meaning that all the points are heading in the right direction, going to the right and going up. Whereas your negative linear association, your points are starting from your y-axis at the top, and they're going down to the right, meaning that they're going down towards the fourth quadrant, which would be now negative. And then you have the nonlinear, which all your points starts negative, goes down positive, goes down negative, and then comes back up positive. So it's not in a straight line, whether it's negative or positive. Um, you now have what this would be called a parabola once you get to some higher math. And then here, there's no association. Your points are all over the place, so you can have a negative slope, you can have a positive slope. I mean, you can have it's all scattered, right? So there's no association. So you can't say that, hey, these points are going negative or these points are going positive. So I believe a student asked that question. So because you can have both here, you can't just associate it with one or the other. All right. So when we go back, you'll look at these three questions here, and you're looking at these graphs, and you are associating with what's happening with the price in mileage, or the price in weights and carats, or the energy consumed and the temperature with what's happening here. So something's increasing as something else tends to increase. Something is increasing as something else tends to decrease. And then blank and blank don't appear to be related. Right? So there's no association whether it's negative or positive. You can't determine whether it's a negative or positive. So you look at these three graphs and you determine which one fits with one of these, and then you're just going to input whether it's mileage and price, whether it's price in carats, whether it's temperature and energy. That will be filled in there. Okay, so that's for lesson 6. Okay, lesson 7. You're looking at graphs. How are they different? So well, once again, you're looking at the scatter plot, the association is negative, positive, nonlinear, no association. All right. So you're just looking at those and you're just determining uh, how are these scatter plots alike, and then how are they different, right? From there, you're going to look at you're going to be observing patterns. So I'm going to go directly to what you guys are saying. So you're going to start off with what do you notice? What do you wonder? So you have a graph, and you're once again looking at this, like what's happening, the crude oil import price and the oil production. Kind of looking at this, is this negative, positive? Is it non-linear? Is there no association? You're looking at those factors for this. And then once again, you have that. How are these scatter plots alike? How are they different? So you're looking at the four A, B, C, and D, and determining the differences, and then the likeness of these scatter plots. And then you have the activity here where you have to draw a scatter plot that shows a positive linear association and clustering. So now we know that clustering here is where you have two separate groups that are headed in the same direction, but one is in a lower range, one is in a higher range, and they cluster and kind of hover around that specific area. But the association for this is going to be positive because these are all headed in the direction going left to right. So they're all going up and they're all going positive, right? So there's two clusters. One cluster is in the range from I would say 135 to about 155 here for the calories per serving. And then one cluster is in the 170 range to the 185, 90, 95 range calories per serving, right? And then so they all hover in these two separate clusters, but they're all trending, or they're all headed in a positive, right? Positive direction. So when you look at your graph here, you see the positive linear association. Well, imagine if I had this cluster here, and then I had this cluster down here, and I took this middle section out, right? If I took this middle section out, and I just had this section down here, and I had this section right here, this would be a positive linear association, and then we'd have two clusters. We'd have a cluster in this area or this range, and we have a cluster in this higher range. Okay. Any questions on that, please email me, and I will make sure I get back to you as soon as possible. Okay. Yep. Same thing. So that's your work for today, and I hope that you all are able to get through and complete this. 3 o'clock is the time frame. It's not a lot of work, but with the examples that I gave you already in the links in Google Classroom, and then this video here, you should be able to complete this. If you don't complete it by 3, no worries. I want to make sure that you understand it and that you get it and that you don't rush through. All right.